My name is Ushikubo. I am 16 years old and I live in Riverside, California. My family is absolutely not musical. They love music, but they don't play any music. And one time I was watching this Japanese TV drama, and the main protagonist was a professional pianist, violinist, and conductor, which really got me into music because I was really inspired by him. I started piano when I was 5 years old, right after I watched that drama. And I started violin at the age of 6. And right after I started, I really started taking private lessons, and I've been doing it ever since. I play 2 instruments, but I still have a lot of free time actually. Well, not a lot, but I have plenty. I watch like 90 minutes of movies every day actually. And I do homework, of course, and I'm a senior in high school right now, so plenty of homework to do. But yeah, I love researching about automobiles as well. So yeah, I have plenty of time to spend on my hobbies. Usually when I wake up, I start off with the piano because even when my hands are not warmed up, it's easier to play on the piano than the violin. I usually start off with scales, play scales until I get warmed up, and then I work on my musical pieces. And then after that, usually I do like 90-minute segments of practicing and then take maybe a 5-minute break in the middle, of course. And then I'll do something else, and then I'll do violin practice next. And for violin, I do scales a lot of scales. Usually, yeah, at least 40 minutes. And every day, if I don't have any classes, I usually do 4 to 4.5 hours of each instrument. So 8 to 9 hours of practicing every day. I bought a Steinway Model B piano which is at my house. And I bought it using the money that I got from the Davidson Fellows, which awarded me $50,000 scholarship. I've done many performances as a soloist with orchestra, being a guest artist in many different places. And being here in Colorado, being a guest artist with the Fort Collins Symphony has been one of the best so far. Yesterday, I did this little presentation for high school students in Colorado, Fort Collins, and I did a little kind of an interview questions and played some excerpts, and I just really tried to relate to them in as many ways as possible, in a personal way, and also to inspire them in every possible way in music. To memorize a piece, it really depends how quickly I can memorize a piece, but one time I sight-read the third movement of the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, and I sight-read it once and I memorized the whole thing. When I memorize a piece, it just becomes so much easier because I know it from the heart. I could add more musicality, more phrasing, everything into the music. The longest piece I've ever memorized would be, well, I've done like many solo recitals, so in that case, many repertoires combined together, which would add up to maybe over an hour and a half of music. So yeah, that's a lot of memorization required. I have so many favorite composers, but my number one would be Beethoven. On the violin, I love Tchaikovsky's music, and on the piano, Rachmaninoff. And Beethoven, I love both instruments. My ultimate dream is to become a concert pianist and violinist, and then eventually do conducting. I don't have a preference between the piano and violin, which is really why I'm still doing both instruments. Several months ago, I went to Paris, France to do this little radio program for Radio France with pianist Jean-Yves Thibaudet, and that was a very inspiring and fun event to do. And I've performed with other orchestras, like last month I performed with San Diego Symphony. I've played with the Reno Philharmonic. Can't think off the top of my head so many others, but yeah, orchestral performances have been such an important part of my life, and playing as a soloist is just the best time I could ever have in my life. I do this school system called independent study, and I go to school once a week. The other days I do homework at my home, which really gives me flexibility so that I could practice more. And on the days that I go to school, I turn in my homework to my teacher and I ask questions if I do have questions, and I take tests there. And so it really works well for me. Music and math really, it's really kind of hard to explain, but it's so connected. I think it's especially connected in the way the rhythmic patterns in music work. It's really, really all about mathematics there. I did this little improvisational concert once. I think it was last year. I performed with jazz pianist Alfredo Rodriguez and remix artist Daedalus. And I played both piano and violin, classical works, and also improvisational works with them, which was a really exciting event for me. I've actually, before that concert, I've never really done improvisation, but the jazz pianist Alfredo Rodriguez, he gave me some tips on how to improvise, and really I just did it at the spot, really. I didn't necessarily practice improvisation, I just played whatever came into my mind at that point. The tips that he gave me included like just listening to other jazz musicians, really, and listening to hundreds of jazz musicians and really take in their different sounds and eventually just combine them all and somehow create your own sound eventually. And that really, really helped me. I definitely do want to teach in the future for sure, because teaching others and inspiring others, I think, is like one of the most important parts of this musical world, to pass on this musical talent that we all have. I'm a senior now, so I'll be auditioning for many music colleges this year, and then the results come out in like April, so I don't know yet. The only tip that I really have in becoming a great musician is just practice a lot. I mean, really, the way you practice, it really depends on the person. I might practice one way, someone else might practice another way, and really the way you practice, you will find out when you practice, really, and you will find out when you practice a lot. And if you practice a lot, you will get it. In Coburn School, the music school that I go to, I'm doing this string quartet with my colleagues, and really I love doing chamber. It's so much fun. I love doing chamber, and performing with my chamber group is really something that's so unexplainably satisfying, and which is really why I love playing with other musicians. In Coburn School, I'm in this pre-college division called the Coburn Music Academy, and they're all pre-college students who are extremely good musicians. So my chamber group, I love playing with my chamber group because they're at such a high level, each and every one of them. I play in any venues that I get the chance to. Every performance opportunity, just take it, really. I've done many house concerts, and I've performed in the Aspen Music Festival as well, and playing in venues outside of regular concert halls could be really fun because it's a totally unique and different setting from what I'm used to usually.